let's talk about the characteristics of metaphysical poetry. So one of the characteristics is intellectual depth and philosophy. They basically do believe in using highly intellectual depth when writing of the poetry. They do use meter. They do use a proper type of structure in order to place it in a manner that it looks good. If they have knowledge, they do believe in showcasing it. They have highly knowledgeable philosophical ideas. They do have highly intellectual observation about the things, and they believe to show it in paper, and that's why they do it. So intellectual depth and philosophy is there. That's why they have kept all those things in the paper. If we talk about the example, then we can take the example of The Flea by John Donne, where he has basically used a flea as a mating agent, which basically stored both the lover's blood in it and is used as a symbol of mating before their actual mating. And here in The Flea, basically the speaker is telling the lover that we have actually mated, and this bee is a symbol of our love, and you should not kill it. But although at the end it was killed by the lover, so he's saying that he's basically pursuing the lover to mate with him. That's what the poetry is all about. It is controversial, and that's the reason he's basically telling the lover that mating before marriage is not a bad thing, and that's why he's talking about all those things. And marriage and mating is one of the main theme of the poetry, The Flea, and you should read it. So comparison with compass, comparison with flea, all these kind of things make the poetry little unique for the poets or for the people who has just read Elizabethan type of poetry and has come up to reading these type of poetry, because it feels different, and when something is different and complex, people do interfere about this a lot. So that is what intellectual thought and philosophy is all about. If we talk about the next important characteristics, then we can say it is wit, or we can say the wordplay. Wit and wordplay. Elizabethan people were known, or Elizabethan poets were known to play with words now, but the metaphysical poets are known to play with the meter, play with the thought, play with the metaphor in a way that it exceed the limit and become a conceit. So it requires highly wit to understand these type of poetries, because it is something which is not a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings which comes up in your head that you do write it. It is not something which is related to romanticism. It is not something which is a regular type of poetry, but it is a conceit, extended metaphor. Next, if we talk about the next characteristics, we can say that there is flexibility in writing, because they do use colloquial type of language, everyday language, which can be easily understood by the people. And these type of poetry come up with the acceptance of the people when they talk directly about the things, instead of being euphemistic about the things and do not saying it directly but indirectly. People do not like all these things, but some of the people do interfere when things were said directly and not indirectly. So that is again a controversy amongst two sides. I won't name it. So direct language is something which is used by those people. Another is colloquial way of writing. they use regular way of language so that it can be easily understood by people, although it is fully structured and it is in a verse form with highly intellectual writing using symbols which do not relate to each other but has intellect and emotions fusioned together. People like T.S. Eliot do like all these things, metaphysical type of poetry, so he do appreciate it. Metaphysical poetry, if we sum up in precisely about it, metaphysical poetry is a type of poetry where there is highly intellect, then there is a comparison of two unique things which can be intellect or emotions. It can be mortality as well as spirituality, it can be immortality and something materialistic. So basically combining two contrasting things together and making something with the use of making a verse with the use of meter, but not that highly complex. It is complex but not making it highly difficult to read by everybody people, because obviously it is a poetry meant to be read by everybody, so they do not make it in a way that it can be it is not understood by the people. It can be understood by people if they do read it with that kind of wit and knowledge. It is not a type of poetry that is used to be written during the Anglo-Saxon time period that we do not understand, because it is of highly different language. The language here is understood by people, but it is difficult and complex as compared to romanticism. So it is confusing, I know. Let me sum up to this. It is complex as compared to romantic type of poetry, because romantic poetries are very simple to understand, like everyday speech, and we do easily understand it. But if we talk about comparing this type of things with the time period of Middle Ages, with the time period of when English language is just begun to be there and spread, then it is not that difficult as per that. So metaphysical poetry is something which is not really is limited to everyday language. It is a conceit using in-depth, highly intellectual language in order to make it something unique, in order to make it unique and better than the previous one, because obviously we cannot be coming up with the idea of using a certain things or making a monopoly of something, because monopoly can lead to dictatorship and the change is necessary part of the world, and we as humans, we do love change. We do believe in improvement. We do believe in coming up to something new and reading something, because suppose you are reading only romantic literature, suppose you are reading only one genre which is romance, you will get bored of it, and at the end you will demand something else which is like, I want to read mystery, I want to read something critical, something which is different from my earlier reading, because that's what I really want, and that's what metaphysical poets want. But although they do not know that we will be characterized, or we will be combined in a manner together by Samuel Johnson one day, which he has done, and today we know them together. Whether we talk about George Herbert, we talk about John Donne, we talk about Henry Vaughan, we talk about Andrew Marvell. All these poets are summed up together and combined together and are called today as metaphysical poets. So metaphysical poets, if we talk about if I talk more about metaphysical poetry, then I can say that metaphysical poets are the one who not only go after making it a highly intellectual way of writing, but they also believe in bringing up the scientific imagery of it. Yeah, they always try something new, try something versatile, try something unique, and blend something different things in a way that it become new. So metaphysical poets are the one who believe in doing all these things. Now if I talk more about the word carpe diem, which is mostly used in today's time period, and which basically means live for today. It is coined by Andrew Marvell. Andrew Marvell, in his work to his co-mistress, basically is telling his mistress that live for today. Tomorrow we don't know, and whatever we really want to do together, we should do it today, because the next day we do not know what is there is next day. So he's basically pursuing his lover to do the meeting together, and because next day we do not know. So that's what they think, and so that's what it's all about. And from that, the word carpe diem comes up. So I really want to know about your point of view about the metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poets have different notions. They have different way of expressing things. And what I like amongst all of these things is using intellect, using wit, using a lot of knowledge, and expressing it in paper. Writing it down, making it a poetry, so that the other generation can read it and understand it, and also can understand that everything which is written cannot be always correct, because time changes, so does the thought and the society, and that's what the metaphysical poetry is all about. Comparison, extended metaphor, using conceit, using high wit in order to write down the poetry, so that we can bring some change in the society. Complexity is not always the correct thing, but uniqueness is. So with that, we are done with our metaphysical poets, and that's all for today's class. I'll see you in the next discussion, we should say, or in the next video.